Hey everyone! So I came on here today to talk about bullet journaling. Since the quarantine and since I've had some stuff going on with my foot, I've been stuck indoors and I haven't had a whole lot to do. So recently I've taken up the art of bullet journaling and I wanted to share it with all of you because I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask how I do it, why I do it. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share all of that with all of you. Okay, so first off, why bullet journaling? The reason that I chose to bullet journal is because I actually carry this small planner around with me every day, and I'll show it to you. It's just a little pocket calendar, and I would write down every day the things that I did. Instead of writing down the things that I was going to do or the plans that I had, I'd actually use this as a form of journaling, and I would write down a sentence or two, I'd write down some words, so it would jog my memory as to what I did that day, like this. However, like I said, I'm not getting out and about as much as I would like, so it kind of is a little depressing to look back on and see that I really didn't do anything, or I just put like watch Netflix. So I spent some time on Pinterest. I was looking up different ways that you can journal. I used to journal in the past by writing a page or two in a Microsoft Word document, but then it became really tedious and it's like became something I had to do instead of something I wanted to do. So that's kind of how I stumbled upon bullet journaling. What do you need to bullet journal? It's really that simple. You need a journal and you need some pens and markers. So as far as the journal, I actually do not have an official bullet journal. When you have an official bullet journal, when you open it up, you will not see lines inside like this. You'll actually see dots. So if you ever played the game when you were a child and you had little dots on a piece of paper that you drew and everyone would draw a line and whoever completed the box got to put their initial inside, your journal's actually gonna look a little bit like that. However, I was feeling really ambitious one night and I really wanted to start this and all of the stores were closed, so I just grabbed a journal and I started with this. I suggest that you maybe start practicing in a line journal, so when you spend the money to buy an official bullet journal, like you decide that you actually want to do it and you're really good at it. I've noticed I've been doing it for 2 months now and I'm getting better at it, and I kind of just want to rip out the pages from the past because it doesn't really flow with the design technique that I really want. But the point of journaling is so I can look back at it and see what I did. So I'm going to leave it in there. I almost forgot to show you the pens and markers that I use for my bullet journal. I actually got this little pouch yesterday from TJ Maxx for $7. I was using the original packaging for all my pens and markers, but it got a little difficult because they all weren't in one space. So I bought this yesterday so I could put it all inside. The markers that I got are by a company called Zebra. I got them at Joann Fabrics for, I believe, $23. They are at Target as well, and they are much cheaper at Target. So if you're going to get these markers, head to Target first. These are all the colors that it comes in. And these markers do not bleed through the paper. They only stay on the one side, which is perfect for bullet journaling because then you'll be able to use both sides of your piece of paper without worrying about it bleeding through. The markers are called Mid Ink Midliners by Zebra. They are double-sided markers. So one side looks like a highlighter and it's the bold tip. This is easier to like color in larger areas. And this side is the fine tip, which of course is easier to color in the smaller areas. The pens that I use are also by Zebra. They're extremely fine tip. I got 3 colors. It comes in a pack of 6, so you'll get 2 of each color, and I'll show you how fine they are as well. They're really, really fine tip. These also do not bleed through the paper, and they are called fine liners. Okay, so now it's time to actually get inside of the bullet journal and see what kind of things you can put inside of this. I mentioned I started this a couple months ago. I did not have the fancy markers that I just showed you when I first started. It was like in the middle of the night, so I just used Crayola markers. So it did kind of bleed through the paper. But the first thing that I start with is a title page for the month. You do not have to do this, but I wanted to separate all of the things that I was journaling by month. Then you just start your list. So I started a little list of Netflix movies that I watched, and I put stars and I colored in like my rating for those movies. And I started at the end of the month. So then I hopped into June. In June, I started logging my sleep cycle, how much water I'm drinking. I have a tracker for my moods. I will talk a little bit about all of this later. I actually started watching all of the Marvel movies, so I separated them by different phases, and then I colored in the little box as I watched them. You'll notice I only have one left. I was tracking my weight, places I have traveled. This is my summer bucket list. So I have a bunch of different things that I want to accomplish this summer. As I do them, I will color in the little box next to it. Let's see what else. I started writing down some series that I'm watching on Netflix, and you'll notice as I watch the episode, I colored a little bubble around it. For those of you that geocache, I'm not sure if any of you do, but I am an avid geocacher, and they started this little challenge called Memory Lane, and as many geocaches as you find, you move across the board. So I decided to put it in my bullet journal because it's something that's important to me and something I wanted to keep track of. This is one of my favorite pages that I have this month. It's a self-care page. I just wrote down some things when I'm feeling a little bit anxious or nervous or upset about something. I just wrote down a couple of things that I can do to kind of calm myself down. You will notice at the bottom, I said something about making lists. So this little journal comes in handy for that. What else? Oh, and I also saw this on Pinterest. It's 1 word a day. So you just write down 1 word that either reflects something you did that day, something that's important to you. And it's kind of funny because I look back at it and I kind of can almost recall everything that happened that day just from that 1 word. It's kind of crazy. And that brings us to July. So you can see I have my cover page that reflects the month, and then after that I have my empty templates for all of the pages that I'm going to fill in for that month. So I'm actually going to show you these pages up close so we can talk about what these pages are for, where I got my ideas and inspiration, and how you can get started on creating your own bullet journal. Here's that cover page that I talked to you about. You do not need to have a cover page like I mentioned. I just do it because I want to break mine up by month so I know which lists come from where. So I just made sure I put the month on there somewhere. So there is July, and I enjoyed catching fireflies in the summer as a child, so I found a cute picture online and I just implemented the fireflies inside of my cover page. Then these are my 2 trackers. I'm going to track my weight, as you'll see on the left. Inside of each little scale is a number 1 through 31, since there are 31 days in July. And I'm actually going to write down here in the gray section what my weight is for that day. That way I can go back and check to see what my weight was, if I lost weight, if I gained weight throughout the month. On the right, you'll notice it's a mood tracker. So each of the images, whether it's the airplane or a cloud, has a number next to it. Again, 1 through 31, since there's 31 days in the month. And then at the bottom is a scale. So if I was feeling angry that day, if I was feeling sad, surprised, kind of just happy or really excited, I would color in whatever color reflects that image. And that way I can go back and see how I was feeling on that specific day. So you will see on the left, I have my 1 word a day that I mentioned earlier in this video for last month. I condensed it to 1 page. We'll see how that goes. But in each box, I'm just going to write 1 word that kind of reflects something that happened that day or something that I was feeling, so I can go back and kind of jog my memory what happened that day. Then on the right, you will notice it's a sleep log. Again, 1 through 31. For each day, I am going to highlight the section of the day that I was sleeping. That way I can track to see if I'm getting my 8 hours every day or if I'm waking up in the middle of the night, kind of seeing what's going on with that. Then on the left, you will see is a step tracker. I have a key up at the top, so this is how I will color in the shoe. And then these are the colors on the left. So if I walk less than 2,000 steps, it will be colored red. If I walk more than 10,000, it will be colored purple. That way I can see how much I am walking throughout the day. I had mentioned earlier that because we are in quarantine, that I am not walking a whole lot. I'm not up on my feet. I'm not moving around. So I want to kind of inspire myself to move around more, to go out to the park, to walk around, to get out of the house. So this way, since it is in list form, I think it will kind of motivate me to get out. So over here on the right, you'll see I have a July mixtape. I'm just going to write down 4 songs or artists that I've been listening to a lot this month, so I can kind of go back and see what kind of music tastes I had throughout the year. On the left, I have a quote that just says, "Be you in all that you do." I was just kind of practicing using the markers, different strokes that I can use with the pens, little border. I was practicing doing the little spiral on the notebook, which was really fun. And then on the right, I have a Netflix series tracker again. So I'm going to write some shows that I would like to watch and then put the number of seasons and episodes underneath and then put a little bubble under it as I complete it. And then these may look a little overwhelming. This is something I decided to try to do for this month. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to do it in the future, but I have a habit tracker on the left. So I wrote down some habits that I want to make sure that I'm doing every day, such as taking my vitamins, I scrapbook, taking my allergy medicine, because that's a big thing that I forget to do every day, posting on YouTube, getting my 10,000 steps. So when I do each of those things every day, I will use one of my markers and color the little number on the calendar for that day. That way I can go back and see which days I forgot to take my allergy medicine. What days do I really feel like scrapbooking? Do I mainly do it on the weekends? Do I do it every other day? Just to kind of look back and see how often I am completing these habits and if there are any patterns or rhymes or reasons to the way that I do what I do. And then here on the right, I have a cleaning task schedule. So I have daily cleaning and weekly cleaning. I just put things such as tidying up the rooms and cleaning the litter box as my daily tasks. And then you'll see at the bottom, I have weekly tasks, and I actually have bi-weekly tasks, some things that I want to make sure I'm doing every other week. And then I also have deep clean and declutter. So I put down a couple of things for the month of July that I want to make sure I'm paying extra close attention to. And then there's a little section at the bottom for notes. So that is my bullet journal for July. I hope it kind of gave you some inspiration or ideas as to what a bullet journal really is. I am going to post some links down below of some boards that I use on Pinterest to help me get some ideas. I am going to also post below where you can get the markers that I use and the pens that I use, just kind of get you started brainstorming on what you are going to need. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, please post them down below and I will make sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching.